Hello, my friends, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, I wanted to talk about something more on the positive end of things, sort of. I don't know if I really consider this positive or if I just consider this distinctly weird. Gamers are a strange breed whom I love considerably. But sometimes y'all make me giggle, and it's fun. So, here we have Deadlock's best girl is, judging by the fan art, a scrunkly gargoyle with a flat cap and severe back issues who just happens to be an absolute sweetheart. I'm not gonna lie, some of this stuff kind of makes me want to try Deadlock. If anybody out there can get me a code, maybe I'll actually play a shooter for once, see how that goes. But half the reason I wanted to cover this is because with Concord's timely demise, I think it's important to seriously emphasize how much having a good character design is and how much that character doesn't necessarily have to fall in the established attractive lanes. There just has to be a good design and it has to interest players. Now, I'm sure this is mostly going to be some of the more weirdo kind of players who are into this, but it's still more interest than anybody showed about any of the Concord characters. The Concord characters didn't drum up even the slightest bit of interest, not from any weird section of the internet. So this must be a sign of something, even if you're not into this kind of thing. And so this is Ivy. She's an interesting looking creation. I don't understand the appeal myself, but trust me, there are people into it. And of course, you're going to have people praising the over-sexualization of this kind of character who isn't particularly normal. I mean, this is PC Gamer. It's the same site that rated a bunch of male genitalia in other games. But as weird as I find this, I also find it fascinating, and I find it to further reinforce that good games transcend all sectors and literally actually create their own diversity. Now, I can't say how good Deadlock really is. I haven't played it, but apparently they've struck a chord with some people. I mean, they've had nearly 200,000 people in their game, and they're not even technically released yet. It's still in beta. The writer goes on to say, Ivy is under no reasonable metrics designed to be worshipped in the way she's being idolized. She's a direct midpoint between one of those hunchbacks of Notre Dame gargoyles and Audrey Rocco Ramirez from Atlantis. Visually speaking, she's a scrambly little goblin monster with the proportions of Golem. You're reading this article because that hasn't stopped people. That's because people, when they find a design they like, whether it be an actually attractive normal woman or a weird gargoyle creature that they identify with because that's what they look like inside, sorry, then they're going to do strange things. Here you have a fellow doing an Ivy fan art sketch. And that's some of it. Not all of these pictures are going to be necessarily sexual in nature. I mean, there is possibly some sexuality you can gain from this, but it's also, if you look at the character design, a really good emphasis on how the colors of this character can attract somebody to inspire them to actually recreate it in their own way, which again is something the Concord characters didn't have in any way, shape, or form. Now, this is obviously just a little weird. I imagine some of this has to do with the personality the character exudes. So after doing a little work looking around, I'm going to say that a lot of this Ivy love has a lot to do with the fact that she's a fun character to play. She definitely looked like a very interesting support character. She had some cool moves, and she definitely had a cute voice actress, which I think helps. And she's got a kind of a sassy, sweet voice that really sums it all together in a nice package. Now, this kind of ranks up there with people who, in my opinion, find characters like goblins. There are some people who are just into that stuff. I don't get it personally. But, here is her backstory, A Fate's Tale. The gargoyle didn't know what was happening when it sprang to life, just that a big human and a small human were being hurt. So the gargoyle leapt to action, sending the attackers fleeing in horror. The small human said thank you and asked the gargoyle's name. The gargoyle didn't have one, and so the small human said, I'm going to call you Ivy. The gargoyle, being covered in ivy at the time, thought it was a bit obvious, but decided to go along with it for the small human's sake. The human asked if Ivy would come home with them so they could show their appreciation, and so Ivy walked with them. That night she learned much. The family were called the Arroyos. The little one, Sophia, mofongo is what they called a plate of deliciousness, but most importantly, she learned that the people attacking them were called the Mendoza Syndicate, and they were hurting people, nice people like the Arroyos. 18 years have passed since the day the Arroyos took Ivy home, and during that time she made it her mission to dismantle the Mendoza Syndicate and free Spanish Harlem from its grasp. However, the thing about dedicating your life to a single pursuit for nearly 2 decades is that you don't really know what to do once you achieve it. For the first time in her life, Ivy is prepared to venture outside of Spanish Harlem and see what the world has to offer beyond vigilante justice. Oh my God, that is so cute. That is adorable. And you see, shit like this is why the game is succeeding. So, yeah, people are sexualizing the character. Okay, it's a good design, good colors, lots of interest to be had within the design of the character itself, and they paired it with this absolutely adorable freaking backstory. They took a character from the TV show Gargoyles and kind of gave it a whole new life. It's great. I think this is a fantastic idea. So they do have a little video here of the voice lines. We'll play just a little bit of that. There's 24 minutes of voice lines. Holy shit.
They couldn't have gotten far. Where the hell did they go? You. Stay away from me, Shiv. What kind of moron tries to stab stone? I need some help. They aren't making this easy on us. I thought we'd be in a different place by now. Can I at least have a hug? I guess I'll wait here.
She sounds so cheerful. This is great. And yeah, so, because I haven't said it enough already, the reason why this game is doing so well is because they're doing the right things. I don't see any kind of real agenda in that story. I don't see anything but an interesting story that anybody across the board can identify with and enjoy, and that the weirdos can run off of and make their weird little pictures. Oh, speaking of weird little pictures. So we've fallen into the category of I have to see it, so now you have to see it. I will say for the most part, most of this isn't what you'd expect. This is actually me re-recording because, yeah, I set up some new scenes and I forgot to add the mic input on them. So I did a whole bunch of recording, but it didn't catch up any of the audio, obviously. So, not my first time seeing them now. However, then there's only 1 or 2 that I wouldn't show on YouTube. And for the most part, they're very tame. Very, very fan art and not in the Rule 34 way. Obviously, you see the first one here is just 2 pictures of the face. This one you might consider a little sexual. The one thing I do like about this is probably because the character itself doesn't display a whole lot of sexual traits. It doesn't get very over-sexualized. I think this one's cute. Ivy's looking for some affirmation, and this guy says, I'm not calling you good girl, Ivy. You threw me directly into Seven's ult, whatever that means. And this one, I think this little strip is so cute. Ivy has a gun. I repeat, Ivy has a gun. Run. Gives Ivy a gun, tells her to do a crime, and she says, Vemos. And this one's really well done. Look at how adorable that is. Maybe that's part of it. The design seems to be very Don Bluth to me. All right, this one's a little more than what I would have expected, but, you know, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. This one's cute. You really get that very energetic feeling from this right here. Dapper Bear, I've been reading Deadlock character bios and finding out Ivy was adopted by a Dominican family and occasionally speaks Spanish was a surprise to me. New favorite character, 10 out of 10. I have a bias. Yeah, I mean, they really just made a character that people can identify with in multiple ways. This is pretty cool. Here's that one character sketch that was... I love the use of light here and the fact the eye is the only thing that's a color. Drinking Ivy. That one's a little weird if you ask me. They actually gave her breasts, which she doesn't really have. Oh, this one's cute. Look at that. And she slides by her tail. And I like this. I don't know if this is from the game, but it's adorable. And he just hops in and says hi and pulls out the gun. This is the other one from the article. And the article really makes it seem far more sexualized than it really is when you go through. So many of these are just a cute character with a sassy personality that is fun to draw. And that is something that Concord absolutely missed. They didn't have anything that anybody... Rule 34, be damned. They didn't have anything that people just wanted to doodle on their own. It didn't inspire anyone to do anything. And that is where it very, very much fell flat. And why it didn't succeed. People can say a gameplay matters the most. It doesn't matter how polished the gameplay, though, is if people won't pick up the game. And part of what inspires people to pick up the game is character design. I like this little animation. This one, Ivy from Deadlock again, but this time I had proper prefs. I don't really have a lot to hide here. She's made of stone, so there's really nothing to hide. Now the next one, they definitely took liberties with the character and Rule 34. Obviously, we won't be showing that on YouTube. This one's kind of cute. I will say the thing that Concord definitely has going for it, the thing that is inspiring so many to play it, despite the fact it's still in beta, has to be strong character design. The fellow at Sungrand Studios, Jarrell, did another video based on this. And I would, of course, encourage you to go watch it. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I do plan to. Just because I'm enjoying learning that part of game design. I always like picking up those little things. Even if I never use them, I like knowing what's going on behind the scenes. But in so many ways, this is very funny to me. And I'm always happy to see something that employs real creativity and see how it actually resonates with people. No matter how weird you think what they're doing is, or I think what they're doing is, these characters have inspired something in somebody to do things outside of the game. And that is something that will help the game. No matter if we like it or if other people don't like it or not. That's how games should be. People should see things in them that inspire them. What do you think? Do you believe it's weird that people are drawing images of this gargoyle creature? I was pleasantly surprised to see not a whole lot of them were extremely overtly sexual. I was very pleased to see that not very many of them were overtly sexual. They were just people who saw a character they like and were drawing non-Rule 34 fan art of it. And that doesn't mean there isn't some of it, but not a lot of it, apparently. Yet. You always got to say yet. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.